best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. I'm your host, DZ, where we teach you how to make money in crypto every single day. And today we got to talk about Jerome Powell pumping the markets and then dumping the markets. And it looks like we might not get any rate cuts. The markets are very upset over his remarks yesterday. We got the breakdown. There's a huge scam in the base ecosystem. We're going to talk about that. Also, we have some Cardano news, XLM news, XLM, something you should not be ignoring anymore. And we got to talk about gold's historic rise. But what happens after gold pumps? How does Bitcoin react? We got the breakdown on that as well. And I'm here with Josh.
Yes,
Josh, how are you doing
sir.
today?
Jerome Powell should be fired. That is the latest remarks.
Oh, we got
from
those
the
remarks.
President of the United States there, guys. Yeah, I see Trent in the chat. He's saying is where Jerome fit to be fired. Unfortunately, I think he'll honestly serve out the rest of his term until 2026. And I think actually Donald Trump was the one that put him in that position in the first place. But either way, yeah, lots of things happened in the last 24 hours. Coinbase, are they rugging cryptos? Are they not rugging cryptos? Are we going to see a war with Jerome Powell, of course, between them and the U.S. treasuries? We want to see those rate cuts. We really do. There's almost zero excuse for them to hold this other than the tariff. So I'm still looking at that June timeframe. We'll be covering that later in this episode. But lock in, guys. Right now, we need to be paying attention to everything this administration is doing in terms of this tariff war, because the people that pay attention now, that get in and figure out which sectors are going to benefit the most off of this, I seriously think are going to end the 2026 with some serious upside. But yeah, how you feeling today, Diesel?
Well, I'm seeing some downside. So the Bitcoin chart's got me a little glum almost. That's the 3-minute chart. We go the 1 minute. You can see Bitcoin just falling off a cliff this morning. Let's go ahead and measure this move. We're talking about a very short amount of time. Bitcoin has peeled off over 1,000. Look at that, $1,111 as Bitcoin maybe tries to find a little bit of a footing. I was just looking at the charts right before we went live, and I saw something short-term bullish. Is this going to be the pump that we sometimes get around that 10:30 a.m. area? You can see right here, the RSI very oversold. Now, again, this is a short time frame, but very oversold on the 3-minute. Let's just go back 3 times. We'll go back 3 times. How's it reacted every single time? Well, we go back to the first time. That was the bottom. You can see the bottom right there. Maybe it put a little bit lower. We go one more time. Bitcoin got a little bit of a bounce, fell a little lower, and then had a nice little blast off. And if we look for the third one, we'll just say this one's close enough. Bitcoin had a nice little blast off, but yet again, got a lower low. And so just be careful trying to trade these moves, folks. But we might try to jump in and trade.
It is 10:30 already. Usually that I don't know what it is about 10:30, but you're 100% right. Every single time 10:30 hits, usually get a pump moving at least till about 1 p.m. in the afternoon. That's when you've been opening up all those longs.
It's those dirty stoners on the West Coast finally waking up, and then they bid some Bitcoin. You know, they're starting to get the crust out of their eye. They open their phone, it's all blurry. Then they're like, "I'll buy Bitcoin."
The Silicon Valley stoners. It's they just be longing in
well,
everything.
Yes, Silicon Valley. That's the people who live inside. If you live outside, you're on fentanyl. But I joke. Let's talk about Bitcoin and the rest of the market here. Bitcoin is down
real quick.
0.4%. ETH is down 0.7%. Little bit of a pump in BNB, and Solana looking pretty good. Solana with the 3.5%.
Can you look at that BNB chart real quick? I just want to see the performance year over year, because I mean, this is
looking at the last year.
If you guys are looking at and then hit that max, it is just looking. Honestly, the max is even healthy as well. Look at that. Like this needs to be studied. Like every project that is launching. Like, and now look at what Binance is doing. We'll be getting this in this episode here today. But CZ has had dozens of countries reach out to him to create crypto reserves. BNB, even with CZ going to jail, and we all thought this was. I mean, I was like, dude, CZ in jail. This is over. This is over for Binance. Then he gets slapped on the wrist with 4 months. Still has his billions.
He came out a little stronger, neck tattoo,
a little stronger, got yoked.
His
and
toothbrush was sharpened to a point for some reason. I don't know what that was about.
Look, he took out his competition. I think Coinbase was in there as well. There's some members inside trading.
But he didn't serve with Sam Bankman.
The tokenomics here need to be studied with the 584, because they have had some of the best performance overall on any single market condition. So if a product's launching now, it makes you really think. Like if you're looking at the tokenomics of BNB and the structure of BNB's ecosystem, and a product's coming in with new innovative tech, BNB is starting to turn into this project that can be used as like a historical reference for like great tokenomics. I just wanted to point that out. It's been crushing it.
Yeah, it's been doing really well. Great during a bear market. Now, let's look at the biggest gainers here in the market. We are looking at Hype, Render, and Solana. So we got some Solana news, and we're going to talk about a Solana altcoin that is passing some legacy corporations. So stick around. If you're in the Solana ecosystem and you're bullish on Solana, you're going to need to see what altcoin we're going to be talking about. Bitcoin Cash also had a nice little pump. I'm suspicious about.
Doesn't that mean we're going to crash? This is how that works.
Potentially. We got Trump down and Fartcoin down. And later on, we're going to reveal 5 reasons why people like Fartcoin. Maybe we'll open a trade in it as well. Now, looking at the markets here, folks, now you can see Bitcoin. We just go back, maybe finding a little bit of a bounce. Did that prediction come true? We'll see. But, it's been playing out pretty well in the past. But let's talk about Powell. Bitcoin rally was killed by Powell. So the rally was short-circuited as the Fed Chair Powell raises stagflation fear. And so he raised stark concerns over the effects of Trump's tariff policies. Bitcoin and stocks both pummeled on the Powell warning there. They pummeled and tumbled, and it was very hawkish, said one analyst. Now, Josh, there's hawkish and there's dovish. What is the difference?
Yeah. Hawkish is, for you bears out there, would be technically bearish. So it's meaning, just kind of not optimistic about the market, a little bit pessimist. Your dovish is the doves are, it's after the wedding. They're letting the doves go.
That's how I actually think of it that way. So if you think of a hawk, it hunts and it goes down. Yep. But if you think of a dove, you let it out of the box and it flies
that's
up.
Probably it's probably a better way to look at it. But sometimes I think it's like that one wedding clip that went viral. And honestly, I need to pull it up where they release the doves and then they just run straight into a semi truck and just get smacked in the middle of the highway. Sometimes the effects of the economy feel like that. But, very interesting that analyst said that. We watched this yesterday on stream. I actually have all the notes in the summary too. So once you're done with that article, there's a lot of key takeaways.
All right.
I would say he was moderate.
Okay, I would agree. I would say that's fair. Well, you said the level of tariff increases announced so far significantly larger than anticipated. The same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth. In other words, whoa, I scrolled way too hard. In other words, stagflation. Bitcoin fell about 2.5% in the minutes following. But Powell also mentioned crypto in this context. He said crypto is becoming more mainstream, and now there's a need for a legal framework for stablecoins. And he said banking regulation around crypto will likely be partially relaxed. Now, Josh, before I throw it to you, I do want to look at Polymarket's reactions. It was slight, but it was there was some reaction there. No change, meaning no rate cuts, was at 85%. This was yesterday, right before Powell spoke. Powell's remarks pumped it up to 88%. And so a slight increase, no change for May specifically. Yeah,
we're definitely not getting it in May here. And Albin says, you probably hate me here, but I think Powell is in the sweet spot, doesn't want to mess with it. And I actually, Albin, if you were following this channel too, like you were here yesterday, guys, let me know. Type 1 chat if you were here in that stream yesterday. Absolutely amazing stream with all of you guys. But I actually agree with you, Albin. There's no reason for Jerome Powell to make any risk adjusted decisions right now with the tariffs coming in. That's what they're waiting on. So there's 2 things that we actually need to cover here though, is one, we learned in Scott Bessent's interview right before we watched Jerome Powell's stream. He actually has lunch or breakfast with Jerome Powell every single week. He talks to these central bankers every single week. And so Bessent was talking about how he wants 2 things. He wants to lower energy prices. He wants to lower the 10-year yield. And in 90 days, he wants to pretty much come up with all these amazing trade agreements. After that, we watched Jerome Powell speak, and here are the key takeaways. So 1, tariffs cause inflation short term. However, he immediately corrected that by saying it's a one-time price increase, and he expects it just to go back to the 2.4% year over year, month over month on the same inflationary metric. It's not a continuous inflation mark. Without price stability, he says you cannot have the strong labor market conditions. You can't have that stability. Waiting on tariff outcome is his idea from this. And he said something that was very interesting before I get to the crypto conversation. We've watched every single Jerome Powell speech. I don't think we've missed a single one in 4 years. This was the first time I saw him bring in kind of a political perspective. It was nonpartisan. It was apolitical. But he came out and said the U.S. federal debt is on an unsustainable path. And that was due to 4 things: Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, and now interest rates. And he was talking about how essentially we need to solve our deficit issue and we need to fix this now. We shouldn't keep kicking the can down the road. He talked about commercial real estate and how it's not something to worry about, and all the fear mongers out there are completely wrong. And then he talked about cryptocurrency, which we've seen him speak about crypto, I think, 2 other times. One of them was when a reporter asked him at an FOMC meeting, hey, what are your thoughts on a Bitcoin strategic reserve? And he kind of lashed out and said, we're never going to touch that. We're not going to touch anything with crypto. Today, fast forward to this meeting yesterday, he came out and that said crypto is 1, mainstream, 2, needs that legal framework, and he believes that stablecoins should have bipartisan support. So he's very excited with the stablecoins. And then 3, he believes that banks need to be deregulated so that way we can start accessing crypto innovation. That was very, very bullish. But his overall speech yesterday, and maybe chat, you can let me know, are you hawkish, moderate, or dovish here? It just seemed to me he was moderate. He said, look, we're in a great position. The economy's in a good point. He understands inflation's down. It's down massively. It's coming down to the points. In fact, we had deflation for the first time, I think, month over month since 2020. And I can actually pull up that chart for you guys as well. And so really all he's doing here is he's just sitting on his hands. Why cut interest rates before we see the negotiations of these tariffs and the overall effect it's going to have on the market? And so for that reason, I think Jerome Powell can still wait 2 more months, and that puts us right on the path of June rate cuts.
All right, so it's not we're not going to be in the poorhouse just yet.
Exactly.
All right, so do I throw away the cup of noodles?
We should still be saving so that way we could be buying more Bitcoin easy. Always a good time to
Can I buy
save.
Cardano with it?
Sure. I'll let you have that.
Okay, I was going to toss it out.
You're
Otherwise. All right.
Don't
All
you
right.
have enough Cardano? I feel like your bags are full, man.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually did this post right here. I'm spending some of my Cardano. Did not plan this one here. I have 1,000 ADA ready to deploy in the Cardano ecosystem. What should I buy? And I will post proof. Probably talk about it on the member stream tomorrow, and just give you some of my thought analysis on why I chose the token that I chose. Now, while Josh was talking, I open along on a
Cardano?
meme coin. You want to guess the meme coin? Oh. Cardano's not a meme coin.
Well, no, you just had Cardano pulled up, but there's song and stuff. I just saw the big word Cardano to the left. Is it song?
No, it is. Oh man, we're
Fartcoin?
at a -0.6%. All right, so we just opened a Fartcoin long. We'll monitor this as we move forward. All right, now Jerome Powell's term as the Fed Reserve Chair is set to expire May 26. Is what we we're talking about earlier. Trump will nominate someone who listens to him. This will spark more quantitative easing, and Bitcoin will explode. That's because Donald Trump. Wow, this person was on it 48 seconds later. They got the screenshot. They're snipping, they're cutting, they're posting, they're typing. They're like, I got to release it.
You guys know I voted for Trump, but this is kind of retarded because he's the one that appointed Jerome Powell in the first place.
Well, he's saying the European Central Bank is expected to cut interest rates, and yet too late, Jerome Powell, who's always too late and wrong, and basically saying too late, should have lowered interest rates like the ECB long ago, but he should certainly lower them now. Powell's termination cannot come fast enough. So people are thinking he might let Powell go, but I don't think he will either. Now, this is just in China trolling President Trump over his tariff policy here. I saw something, and I want to share this thought. Now, in China, there's certain things you can't say that's negative about the country. And so when you can't say something verbally, it atrophies your ability to think about that thing. And someone pointed out, so China, mainland, over 1 billion people, U.S. Embassy, a couple hundred people, 1,000 people. The best propaganda is coming out from the one Chinese embassy in the U.S. social account. And so, the best thinking memes come from America.
Well,
So
and I might have an answer for that. If you guys don't know, there is 2 cameras for every single, or there's one camera for every 2 people in China. There's like on average that we know about 700.
Sounds like Silo from
million.
Apple TV.
Pretty close. And so, I love when I see all these people that are pro-China and I think it's all beautiful and they've never even been to China. I've never been to China. Why have we never been to China? It's very hard to travel
Is it the wall hard to get over?
Probably. It's a very
worked against the
not
Mongols.
for our southern borders. No.
Hey, my last name's Valdez.
But
I'll jump over that thing.
propaganda and talking against the CCP is extremely illegal out there. You can't have these protesting. The police literally, if you're protesting, you're getting arrested. They have these giant blue walls that they unwrap. And so that way, when they come arrest protesters, you can't see. There's no cameras and getting videos of it because they're suppressing what's being protested. And so, you guys, for some reason, a lot of people on certain sides that are very pro-China forget that that's still a communist dictatorship. So you have to realize, like, when we get all this news, the reason why the U.S. Embassy has better memes, if they're in the U.S., they're exposed to a lot more memeified experiences and Twitter and all these types of things. So the embassy in China, very censored. Everything is extremely censored from the CCP in China, and they're always pushing specific propaganda. So you have to also understand that different cultural difference, and it makes complete sense on why the U.S. embassy and people that are in the United States that have more exposure to our type of markets are going to be funnier. And I think it's just a very interesting way to look at that cultural difference.
I am reading the books starting yesterday. I just started the books yesterday. So interesting that you've said that. Let's talk about other countries in relation to Binance. Binance is helping countries with their Bitcoin reserves, crypto policies, according to their CEO. And so this is, they are involved with discussions of establishing strategic digital asset reserves with several countries, Richard Tang said. We have actually received quite a number of approaches by a few governments and sovereign wealth funds on the establishment of their crypto reserves, but he did not identify any country, but said the U.S. is way ahead on that front. So list a country, and Josh, give me a guess here. What is a sovereign country that has approached Richard Tang and Binance? You know, we know CZ
Saudi
is talking to
Arabia.
Kazakhstan. Yeah, I go Middle East too.
I think I would say so you're looking at Thailand, you're looking at
I look at Qatar,
like
also known as
where
Qatar,
did he
UAE.
because he developed all the legal framework for Singapore and Abu Dhabi. So I'm gonna expect that those are two regions that have definitely
I'll tell you where it's not, Nigeria. Remember they kidnapped several
apparently that's where my
executives?
blackmail ring is. So I don't like anything that's going on out there. You know, that's at least where the VPN says they're located. I don't know why it's always Yemen, Nigeria, or India. Don't know what it is about those three areas. You can make your assessments if you want.
I hate to see it. But while governments of Pakistan and Kyrgyzstan have announced collaborations with Binance in the past few weeks, none have mentioned crypto reserves on their agenda. So this makes me think they are actually creating a hidden crypto reserve, just not a public crypto reserve.
Well, and CZ did just join Pakistan, correct? As a government position.
And so I'm sure he's, you know, hey, CZ, who should we use to custody our Bitcoin? CZ's not going to say, you know, Binance International. He's definitely going to tell everybody to use Binance there.
Yeah.
He still has equity in the company. It appears to have shifted away from now also Binance. They're no longer leaning into their no formal headquarters approach that they had under CZ. According to Tang, Binance is working very hard on plans for global headquarters for the exchange. I think they'll probably end up in Dubai, could be Thailand, maybe, you know, Singapore. Now, why do you think they went away from, you know, Office and HQ are old concepts like SMS and MMS? Time is moving on. Well, now they're not moving on from no headquarters. Why do you think they're leaning back towards having an office building?
Why they're leaning back towards having an office building?
Is it the globalists won't let them? My guess is the globalists will not let them be decentralized. They need an attack vector.
That's honestly could be a good point. I think it's also just maybe past we see this deregulation where the foundations aren't as scared on having to be, you know, spread out across the world like Ross Ulbricht going to get, you know, put in prison for 20 years or life to prison. So, you know, maybe it's a little bit of both. I would argue it's probably a little bit of both. It's also maybe I think after COVID-19, this is going to sound weird too, but I think people also like feeling that work environment. I know I do. You know, for 3 years of working at home, we love having a studio here and we love coming into, you know, being able to participate and be around that. So maybe it could be a little bit of everything, but I wouldn't. To have an attack vector could be very well. It's a good question.
My left eye is watering. It's just a thing that it does, but maybe I'm just crying about our geopolitical tensions. You're not going to know. Or maybe I'm crying over the fact that you're not hitting the like button. Or maybe just is a bad day. Grocery store giant Spar is now testing Bitcoin and Lightning payments in Switzerland. So we're seeing more of the globalization of Bitcoin accumulation. They have almost 1,400 stores across 48 countries. And when you go in there and you don't return your cart, you got a Spar. They'll spar you in the parking lot there. The cart narcs will get you. Now, also on the note of national accumulation, global accumulation, Bitcoin hash rate keeps going up, yet the price is suppressed. It's so obvious. There are some huge energy abundant countries mining Bitcoin. Would you agree that's part of what we're seeing with the hash rate here? This is sovereign funds, sovereign nations turning on Bitcoin miners with their state energy companies. secretly accumulating Bitcoin, or is that just too far-fetched, too bullish?
No, I think that's definitely a huge factor into this, especially if you guys watch the mining energy summit in Tennessee. Everybody's going full Bitcoin, and even countries, Pakistan. These are countries that are looking to double down their investments into these sectors, and that hash rate is going to explode over the next 4 years. I don't think it's going to slow down whatsoever. And again, I mean, it's actually pretty much decoupled from Bitcoin's price. You used to historically be able to look at it, kind of was correlated pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
But it's just because you got to think about it. This negative energy market's so massive. More and more miners are going to come online just to capture that excess energy. And if we start getting municipal bonds and different products that can create reserves and positive GDP growth in these states, yeah, I think you're 100% right, DZ.
Let me rewind a bit. Hash rate is how many hash rounds? Waffle House. No, hash rate is the amount of computers computing hash algorithms. Let me try to say that dumber. A bunch of computers are turned on. The higher it is, the more computers are turned on. The more computers are turned on, the more average electricity is used to mine each Bitcoin block, and then that in turn raises the price. Now, maybe electricity goes down relative to hash rate, but that's a whole nother conversation here. Raoul Paul with some gold. No, we're getting into gold, but now we're talking M2. I know many of you wanted to see the updated version of the Bitcoin versus global M2 chart. Raoul Paul has a different analysis. We covered it about a month ago. Usually you're seeing 111 days, you're seeing 108 days. Raoul Paul has done the math, and to him, it's a little bit different. Here it is. This is just a very small part of the weekly macro investing tool as part of RV Plus. So it is time, give or take a few days. Let's click on this chart here. This is a 12-week lead. This is an 84-day difference here. So we've seen 88 tip. I think 88 is actually, what I've seen the math kind of suggests. This to me is more accurate than the 111 or the 108-day lag time. This is a 84-day lag time. And just look how sharp this has been following. And so we are literally right now at the bottoming zone. If it follows the 12-week lead, Bitcoin is about to start pumping, and it's about to start pumping hard. And then if you look at gold, gold's market cap is up 5 trillion just in 2025. Gold is up 3x the Bitcoin market cap. So the move to Bitcoin adoption by nation states will be spectacular. And when it comes to gold, this is a suspiciously round number. It's a 100-day lead, but they're saying Bitcoin follows gold with a 100 to 150-day lag. When the printer roars to life, gold sniffs it out first, then Bitcoin follows harder. And so we're seeing M2 money supply suggesting things are about to pump. Gold price suggesting things are about to pump. Hash rate suggesting things are about to pump. And so you could be bearish. I don't choose that path personally.
Yeah, I mean, I would completely agree. I think the only difference this time is going to be like whether or not the U.S. prints, because I don't expect the U.S. to necessarily print an excess amount of capital.
Well, they say China leads, and so we saw China, changing the rates. Well, actually, Japan leads, but Japan did that a while ago, a couple months ago.
Yeah, Europe's cut. I think they're cutting their 7th interest rate cut this month as well.
We have the graphic right here. Yeah. Just in, the ECB has lowered their rates by 25 basis points, and so you can see they've actually started cutting semi-significantly since, I would say, this roughly May or June of 2024. We're typically going to see U.S. follow. Very bullish, I guess, for Powell very soon. Meanwhile, no, Powell's sleeping. So we'll see how that plays out.
And what's interesting too is like we're at the first, when Jerome Powell first started cutting interest rates, we're at the same inflationary level. So he's running out of his last excuse to die on, like the hill to die on here is the tariffs. Like, okay, if these start going through this month, he's really got no other options. Energy costs are down, your inflation's down, your employment market's strong. It's like there's not, or unemployment's already starting to tick back up. So if we start seeing weak signs in the labor market, that could make us a little bit more excited on a rate cut here moving into June.
All right. And morning to the disco fam out there, everybody, especially those doing their own gardening. We like to see that.
Fartcoin dumping.
Uh-oh.
What's that long doing?
Probably down. Okay, we can live with that. It's down 15%. Not the end of the world, but hey, I'm still in it. We didn't do the 50x insane long because it's Fartcoin. Fartcoin is not a coin to go 50x on. You'll get liquidated or double your money within 2 seconds. Now, let's just kind of compare the S&P 500 to history here, because now we got some more data. It's down 10% in the first 72 days of 2025. This is the 5th worst start to a year in history for the S&P 500. Goes all the way back to 1932 during the Great Depression there. But every single time, except for once in 2001, what happened September 2001 that may messed up the year-end thing? We're not going to talk about it, but 2001, I think, is an outlier for obvious reasons.
A nation state in the Middle East decided to hire a bunch of people to take over. No,
we're gonna get canceled, folks. If
I don't know.
I don't move on.
I don't know.
Building 7. I had to get it out.
It was
But
an inside job. No,
jet fuel. All right. So looking at that though, you take away the obvious hiccup that there was, right before Q4 in 2001. It has turned green every single time. Up 8%, up 15%. 2020, up 35%. 42, up 25%.
We're supposed to be green.
December 31st.
Oh, okay.
So this is just looking at the day 72, starting from January 1st there. Now, you ready to talk about the base scam?
Let's do it, because I feel like this is the equivalent. Well, I'll refrain from that political discussion, but yes, let's talk about it. Let's get into the weeds.
First, let me answer. Is Zach Humphreys my brother? Could you pull up Zach Humphreys? He's a crypto YouTuber.
Yeah.
I think I've done Zach's show before.
Yeah, we've had him on the show.
All right, so they're gonna ask, but then we're gonna go to the base scam. Is he my brother? Is he my brother's keeper?
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty look. I see it. I definitely see it. Yeah, I mean, it's almost identical. Your goatee's a little darker. That's about it.
Yeah, I got more of the thick Mexican,
and you got a full beard.
All right. No, Zach, but a great channel. Make sure you go check that out. The official base, I should clip that. The official base account just launched and then rugged a meme coin. Base posted a link for a new meme coin on Base Chain. It pumped to a $20 million market cap in 1 hour. It then went to 0 in 5 minutes. What the frick? Coinbase. According to this person, they have 200,000 followers here. Well, let's talk about the story. So Coinbase embroiled in alleged front-running controversy with Base is for Everyone token. 3 wallets snapped it up before the announcement on X, and they pocketed some hefty profits. The creator of Base, the main dev there, Jesse Pollock, he greenlit the token. Is it greenlit the token or greenlighted the token?
Could be greenlit.
I feel it should be. Yeah, he greenlighted.
I mean, I guess that's
greenlit is what some of the disco fans does when we go live.
That's true.
That's true. Hit the like button if I'm talking about you. It is going to be your holiday in 3 days too. All right. So Base announced the debut of a token minted on Zora. It's an on-chain social network. The token rose to a market cap of over 15 million, bringing a lot of gains to at least 3 wallets that acquired it before the official announcement. This wallet, 1.5 ETH, then ended up cashing $168,000. This wallet, just 1 ETH, $266,000. And then we had another address that made $231,000 there. So big gains. Coinbase clarified this token is not an official cryptocurrency of Base, and Layer 2 did not directly sell those. Here's what happened. Base posted on Zora, which is the Base app, and then that automatically tokenizes content. So maybe they didn't realize it was going to hit the X main account. Maybe they just weren't thinking it through, but it ended up hitting the official account. People took it as an official endorsement of a coin, and then the coin dumped. And so here's Jesse's post here. Someone has to normalize putting all their content on chain, and I'm not afraid for it to be us. Why? In the wake of chaos, we normalize the behavior and create a better future for creators. Come join, just coin it. Chang, who the F on your team is approving this shit? Jesse, me. So you're the retard. Oh, so people are upset there. Let's look at the coin. Is this log? It almost feels like log. No, it's not log. It had a nice little pump, then it had a nice little dump there. Looking at the 15, let's measure 65%. I mean, some of the allegations, maybe slight exaggerations there on how it fell, but 70%, 60%. Josh, why does that actually look better than most meme coins?
I mean, it is launched by Coinbase essentially, so I'd imagine, I'd hope they wouldn't rug it. What's interesting to me though is that it's only $11 million market cap, so that just tells you how limited liquidity there is in this market. If this were to launch at the peak of the meme season, this would be a multi-$100 million meme coin. But it is what it is. It's a it's a meme coin. So just if you guys are trading these, especially in a low liquidity environment, dude, I'm not touching any of this stuff. Right now, my whole focus is just fundamentals. Risk manage right now, guys. We have to, right? It's Bitcoin. It's your blue chips. It's products I see myself, being in and 6 months from now. This sure can go up or down, but it's $11 million market. You know how easy it is to create a token that's $11 million market cap, like, especially if you're a creator of base. Like, it honestly concerns me that a creator of base can only push something to $11 million market cap. So
I mean, he could probably fart 100 ETH.
exactly. So it's, which means maybe he's supporting that price there. Maybe, I don't know what's going on the back end there, but I would just say, just approach that with caution, guys. Know the game. Okay.
Let's
know
check
the
in
game.
on the trade. We're back in the green, baby. I almost just want to
baby.
market close this. Take
You're
the
not getting
$50
used as
bill.
gas today.
Should I just take the $50 bill? All right, type in yes or no. Should DZ just take the $50 bill, or should he be a true
Degen
like Jesse Pollock of base? Yes or no?
I think you degen it, max it out, and then you go 4x long on the base token from Jesse Pollock.
All right,
Bitcoin's
so
ripping right now.
take profit. Don't take profit. Don't take profit. Do take profit. Don't. God, why are you guys like on?
Nowhere yet. Just tell me. Tell me how to invest, guys. Tell me.
Tell me what to do with my. And it's down to 20. Okay, see, should have done it. You should have done it. All right, I'm just gonna do it, man. All right, now
Why don't you believe? What?
I'm in a Pepe. Look, sometimes you just gotta look. You don't go broke taking profits. So, I do want to share the contest. I am still kicking everyone's butt in the contest, I believe, and so we have a contest on. Big shout out to L Bank right now. And so first place, you're going to get $2,000. No, sorry, $3,000 for first place. Second place, getting $2,000. And third place is getting $1,000. And there's all types of other bonuses as well. And if you just drop in $100, you're going to get 30 USDT. And so I have a link right here if you want to help support me. So we're giving away $6,000. Help me help yourself there. If you know how to trade, it's not for rookies there. Just be real careful out there. All right, now base. Some say coincidentally, shortly thereafter, released their roadmap. Josh. Now the roadmap it almost feels like they kind of rushed this out. It's mostly just technical. Or we're changing our block times and we're scaling the block space from 30 to 50 MGAs, and we're enhancing our developer toolkit. I saw tons of articles. I think they're, maybe. Advertising this article or advertising this. They're trying to maybe get the narrative to change from base launches rug pulls to base roadmap is just going to shock and awe the whole world here. Do you think it's a coincidence they released the roadmap, or is it like to change the narrative?
It's, I don't know, maybe a little bit of both. Again, I want to know what the inside knowledge
put out
is
on
there.
a Friday. Send it.
Maybe it's just, what Jesse's doing is not necessarily a bad idea if they want to capture that meme audience as well. I mean, if they can paint a story of like, look, everybody's talking about it yesterday because they said it rug pulled and then it went back to all-time highs, so it's just like, maybe it's going to bring more exposure over to the base meme ecosystem. And then on top of this, this is all good for performance stuff. This is better for developers to just start using the base ecosystem. But the one thing base has struggled with is to compete with Solana. Like, that's just a fact. It's not disputable. Solana has crushed base when it comes to competition. So if they can start accessing that retail front, maybe it's good for them in the long term here when that market does turn around. But do I approve of those methods? Do I think it's very ethical to launch a bunch of meme coins? That's a different conversation.
Yeah, maybe stay away from that one. All right, Chad, you want me to short Fartcoin? Okay, everyone's mad I closed that trade, man. I don't know if I should short or long. Look, I tell you what, if it dips again, I will long it. All right. So if we see a dip, just let me know. Be like, fart ripped or dipped, or if it rips, it dips. Just let me know in the chat. Maybe we'll open another trade there. All right. But first, let's ask the chat, who holds XLM? I haven't held it for years personally, but I'm starting to get bullish because of Ondo, man. They might be collabing with Ondo. That is right. Type in XLM. Type in XLM if you hold XLM. If we see a lot of XLM, we'll probably start talking about it a little bit more here. Stellar sees 3 billion of real-world assets coming on chain in 2025, and it talks about their new partnerships: Paxos, Ondo, Etherfuse, and SG Ford there. So I just want to highlight, maybe keep an eye out on that. When it comes to RWA, I think after the rug pull, I don't want to say rug pull. After the issues with Ohm and the Mantra token, Mantra was a RWA platform. Token fell 90%. It was a multi-billion-dollar market cap. It fell 90% in minutes. This happened this week. So I think big money is going to be scrambling. All right, so where do we park our funds? And let's park our funds with someone that's established, someone that's respectable, someone that has the Lindy effect, meaning they've been here for years, and someone that has strong, deep partnerships. I feel more bullish on XLM than maybe I have in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I have some alpha for that on my screen right here. Ben Grossman actually comes from Stellar, who leads a lot of their marketing initiatives. So he comes from Amazon and Stellar, working there previously. So that's where that connection comes from. And Stellar is the second largest tokenization platform in terms of being built on top of, besides of Ethereum. And you could see that actually. Let's go to rwa.xyz. And we've talked about this for a very long time. They've been leading that sector here. So they have some good ties there. You can see right here. Actually, let's go to U.S. Treasuries, oh my gosh, dude, I haven't been paying attention to this. It's at almost 6 billion now. Absolutely blowing up here. Again, you have Ondo at, dude, securitized BlackRock just up 100% in the last 30 days. Now 2.5 billion has now been tokenized. And this is going to slowly just become more and more dominant towards Ethereum because, of course, look, Stellar ain't competing with, a BlackRock. I'm just saying in terms of funding and that tokenization. However, when you're looking at this chart here, 4.3 billion on Ethereum. The second competitor there with 500 million is roughly Stellar, and then Solana not too far behind that. So something to pay attention to. Stellar, I do think, I would like to see, one thing I'd like to see Stellar do is break out of the XRP little brother narrative. It tends to only pump when XRP pumps, and there's very, very few times where it hasn't been correlated to XRP and it hasn't been looked at that little brother. And that's partly because Jed McCaleb, the co-founder of Ripple, left Ripple obviously to go launch the Stellar Foundation. Same person behind Mt. Gox, a kind of a old head in the space when it comes to how long he's been in crypto. So definitely something to pay attention to. I don't hold Stellar or ISO tokens really too much anymore, but I would say I'd be lying if I wasn't exposed because obviously I have a huge bag of Ondo. So, that kind of goes hand in hand.
All right, we got that SPX community.
Oh my goodness.
They always go crazy
Fartcoin's
here.
probably ripping. You should have held it.
Yeah, I saw it. It was up a little bit. SPX, I mean, it's down bad, but I mean, if you look at the all-time lows at 30 cents, it's at 45 cents. It's up 50% from the lows. This could go either way, but I'm tending to think this one's going to long-term trend to zero. I'm not saying it can't set a new all-time high if meme coins come back. I think this one, I don't know if this has the staying power of a Pepe, of a Fartcoin. Just personally speaking there. Looking, all right, so we're getting there. We're getting there. In fact, we're maybe getting to oversold territory pretty soon. And then DZ's going to shart. That's the fart short. So keep an eye out for the shart coming.
We do have a really weird transition. We have a really good question here, though. Why wouldn't you hold ISO coin? So speaking of sharding, no, I'm just kidding. You're looking at, the reason why I don't hold, it's not that I'm against ISO coins. I want to make that clear. I'm not against ISO coins, but the ISO narrative, the ISO 222 narrative that a lot of influencers were pushing on you guys is fundamentally flawed to its core. I had the opportunity to speak with people from the International Standardized Organization, as well as chains that are integrating those standards. And they told me that it's just a technical issue. If they have a partner, it's very easy to integrate into almost any single chain. So as a platform, if they're like labeling themselves and marketing themselves as an ISO associated platform, and that's like why you should be focusing on them, it has no effect. That is essentially what the engineers were telling me. And just like I listened to the engineers when I was talking to them about AI in Panama, and they were like, and this is why I sold the top of the AI bubble. I talked to these engineers. I was like, do you think that the AI industry is as worth as how hyped up it is to be right now? And they immediately said, no, not with the 10-foot pole. And I was like, okay, I'm hopping out of this. And so this is one of those just opportunities I've had speaking with these engineers. It's not that it's a bad standard. It's a needed standard. It's an international standard, but every chain is going to be integrating that. And you've seen that expand massively over the years. So that is why I would say, I'd be cautious on the ISO, but like at the same time, you want to pay attention to what the ISO ecosystem is doing. So if something is ISO compliant, that's perfect. ISO 222, but what are the products? What's the development on that chain? What's the ecosystem look like? That's going to matter a lot more in the long term, because you could even have ISO standards, but nobody use your platform to even access those standards, right? That is what I like to watch. And Stellar's been absolutely crushing it. I think, I honestly, and I am biased here, I hold a ton of Ondo, but I'm really excited for the global markets that are going to be launching here. Let me go back right here. Here's a little picture of it. This is launching this year. And they say he's essentially what stablecoins did for dollars, Ondo will do for securities. You have to remember that Ondo here, which is working alongside Stellar and all these different chains. I'm sure, Ripple, they had Chainlink at their event. They had David Schwartz at their event. There's going to be access points. And those are the points I really want to pay attention to. What is the fundamental layer that's going to access all those different given chains? And this is the platform that I'm going to be really paying attention to as it releases later this year. So that's kind of my thoughts there.
Yeah, and BlackRock likes Ondo. That would be pretty bullish in my opinion here. But now, speaking of bullish, let's talk about 5 reasons why you might be sleeping on a fart. 5 reasons why Fartcoin is rising faster than everything else. I don't know why every single publication must have some sort of pun here. I'm just going to go through the 5 reasons now. They're saying we're seeing Pepe similarities. I will say that's a very fair assessment. Number 2 reason, social media hype is spiking lately. It's funner to post about a fart than Pepe or a frog. Open interest is jumping 500%. So this is the futures market. So a lot of people are just loving trading this. The more people like to trade it, maybe you might need more accumulation by some of these exchanges, even if they're using market makers. So that's still a good sign there. Number 4, I wasn't aware of this. It is founderless. And so, it was blending the AI innovation. There was an AI researcher. They made the terminal of truth. And I kind of remember the whole terminal of truth Fartcoin, but the founderless narrative is really, really good when you compare it to Bitcoin also being founderless. And then last but not least, the technicals are hinting at 100% gain there. Looks like we might have a little bit of an upside down head and shoulders chart. And the way you would measure that is it would be the length of the head from this neckline, suggesting that there's more room to grow. Would be going to this target area right there. So 5 reasons, maybe don't sleep on the fart there. If we check on the price, okay. Did DZ open a short? He did, because he's a DJ who just can't give it up there. So we'll be checking on that as also later on. Now, Cardano looking pretty good according to a lot of technicals. It is called the risk score. And the risk score, Dan Gambardello was posting on that. The risk score is the risk model just flashed. The risk model right now is really close to bottom. It's around 31 now. And if you look at when we bottomed out here, the risk was 35. And that was a bottoming out formation on the right shoulder. And so we're seeing a lot of technicals look very, very bullish. And it might break out if we get some ETF hopes. Do you think Cardano belongs in the conversation of potential altcoin ETFs? Does it belong with
I think
Solana, Doge, even Litecoin?
Yeah, and if it doesn't belong in its own ETF, I think we should have a bundle of ETFs.
Yeah, like the Grayscale one,
Solana, Litecoin, XRP, and those are all bundled into like a top 10 or a top 20 index. Yeah, I think I'm very much in favor of retail and Main Street. I do not like Wall Street. I want retail to win this. And if we want to invest our products in an exchange traded product that we believe in, I think we should have that opportunity without having a financial institution that's been manipulating our markets for decades, that have been failing and being bailed out by the government, telling us, no, you can't do that because it goes against our system. So I think, I would like to at least see even like a DeFi index, right? Like we could do a couple different of these bundles. I don't know if it should be standalone yet, but at the same time, I think why not have standalone ETFs for the top 20 or the top 10?
Well, Josh, it's been a couple weeks, not to rewind too much, though. It's been a couple months even since you handled Ondo Unlock FUD. Here we have a question. One of the biggest problems with Ondo is the massive unlock January 1st, 26.
They're talking about the next one already.
Well, let's not laugh. I think it's a fair concern.
No, I know, but we just covered this for like 3 months. I don't mean to laugh. It just
you're laughing at Andrew.
I love you, Andrew. Andrew, I made so many videos on this. It's a great question. It's a great concern. But the unlocks, 80-something% of them belong to the treasury, which means it's going to go to ecosystem development and liquidity. And so when that actually opens up, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a dumping effect in terms of the token unlocks. You're going to have actually an advancement of liquidity and growth within the ecosystem. DZ's done a great job at this. And again, I apologize for laughing. I was laughing because I just spent 3 months covering this.
Oh, we talk about every single day.
Ultimately, is like when you look at Solana, when you look at Polkadot, a lot of systems have had these unlocks, but when they tend to be favored towards the treasury and ecosystem, it usually is really good for the liquidity and ecosystem growth rather than a selling pressure or dumping event.
I got a more simplistic view. When the unlocks are held in rich people's hands, unlocks don't really affect it too much. When unlocks are in the brokies in the community, that's when everyone starts dumping. And just to add a little caveat to that, when the unlock is in a bunch of rich people's hands, those are typically the longer vesting periods.
Yeah.
And so tokens like Ondo, tokens like Solana, even, they have unlocks going into like 2030, 2031. And so if you're a billionaire and you got 20% of your tokens in 2025, but you still are waiting for 80% of your tokens, you might not be incentivized to dump your 20% on the market because that's going to affect the price in a negative way.
Yeah.
When it's just in a community, all the brokies get it day one. All the brokies look at their airdrop and they're like, oh, Jupiter airdrop, I'm dumping on the market today. And then that's when you end up getting like 20% red candles.
Yeah. Now I do want to answer the second part of this because that's a government bowel movement tracker. Department of
Bowel movement tracker.
Department
Wow,
of
that's
Duty.
good. Yeah, so they track plumbing statistics in DC. I don't know what that would mean or correlate to, though.
How many workers are actually working, or I don't know how you would. What would you use that?
What can you
A bowel
delineate
movement
from
traffic.
extra or reduce flushing?
Well, if there's more flushing, there's probably more vegans within that environment, which means more liberal based polling. So you can maybe adjust that for what your polling is going to look like if you're running as a candidate, is based off of whether or not you're liquid or not. But anyways, this is a weird conversation. Back to Ondo unlock. This is a perfect. He says unlock. The Ondo unlock raises the market cap, and you're 100% correct. And so that's why, people kind of get mad when I have a $4 to $7 price prediction on Ondo, because that's only technically a 5, to even maybe 7, 10x from here. But it's for that reason. It's like, as this ecosystem expands, that market cap is going to expand with those token unlocks, but therefore it's, going to be a lot harder to approach those, those market cap ranges where people think it can go to, 100 billion or 200 billion. Now it's not impossible. You guys know me. I'm very cautious. I'm very optimistic, but I'm very cautious. I approach my price predictions are always very, very, very limited when it comes to the outlook of these things. So just keep that in mind. As any ecosystems unlocking tokens as well, though. So luckily we're only doing like, I think a 10% unlock year over year, or whatever it is, it dwindles down over time. But as of right now, you're 100% correct.
Now there are some DC tracking metrics that I like, not toilet flushes, but you ever see the pizza order one?
That is actually a real one. So like, if you guys don't know this one, whenever pizza orders tend to rise, it means something intense happening within the government, because they're going to be like, for example, when a major event happens, they're all staying in it. I think it's Little Caesars, if I'm not mistaken. It might be Papa John's. I forgot. There's actually a specific one that
Papa
is
John's, I guess.
because it's open 24/7.
Chat, what's your favorite chain pizza? I'm gonna count Marco's. I'm a Marco's man.
What ones open up 24/7? That's the one they track.
I'm not sure.
It'll be like a 1
Is it Comet? Is it Comet?
Actually, I don't even know what that is. Isn't that bleach?
There's a lot of bleach in the
There's
basement.
not a lot of bleach.
Oh man, folks, what we just said was one of the YouTube no words. If you can help counteract the Google overlords who don't like us at the moment, please hit that like button. I was not supposed to.
They actually hate us. They banned my TikTok. So pizza. If you say
Marco's,
pizza 3 times,
Domino's,
I heard Hillary Clinton appears.
Little Caesars. I mean, they had cool commercials in like 1993. Domino's.
Little Caesars. I don't mind Little's. I mean, it's terrible for you, but like if you're drunk, dude, like college, Little Caesars, man.
Bing Bong Pizza. They think we're stoned because we're talking about pizza. Oh man, like in the toppings. All right, we're not stoned.
We're in Georgia, dude. It ain't fun. If this was California, it'd probably be fucking twisted right now. But yeah, dude, I'm on Atlanta TikTok, and it is depressing. I saw the 15 top most ghetto schools, the 15 top worst areas to live in. I'm like,
we are known for our Waffle Houses. That's a fair statement.
I was like, what
Atlanta's
the heck?
known for their Waffle Houses. Also Fremont Street. There's crazy activities in the middle of the street.
I also didn't know this. The first Chick-fil-A ever was in Atlanta. I do need to go try that because it's like the first ever McDonald's.
Yeah, with the big chicken,
menu.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Old BJ took me there when I first came out here. Let's talk about the Solana project. I said we're going to talk about a hot Solana alt. That Solana alt is Helium, or I like to call it HINT. They're gained 60% as Helium Mobile surpasses major U.S. telecoms and prepaid subscriptions. But this is prepaid subscriptions. There is a little asterisk here. It is net new subscribers. So they don't have more prepaid than AT&T or Verizon. But when it comes to new subscribers coming in month over month, they are smoking all the legacy all the legacy telecommunication systems. And so I would not be sleeping on Helium. This is a very, very bullish metric here. So
it is bullish. I do want to say something as a door-to-door salesman. I'm curious how much this is affected because just Verizon already owns the market share. It's like when I was going door-to-door with AT&T, I'd be like, who do you use as your service? They're like, I already use AT&T. Who do you use as a service? I already use AT&T. And I would go to like 50 houses before finally when someone's like, oh, I'm on T-Mobile. I'd be like, oh, perfect. Well, your neighbor tells me it's trash, and then it's
so I worked at ADT and I did door to door, and we had a different technique. We would go into neighborhoods where there were break-ins. Our local paper had break-in reports for whatever. They gave you the address and everything. And we would show up in the cul-de-sac and say, Bill's house was broken into. We go knock on Tim's door and Eric's door, and we're like, you know why we're here.
Yeah.
And they saw cop cars yesterday.
Yeah.
And so even if whether they had ADT, did not have ADT,
Did
they
you have
would
to do
see the
credit checks?
ADT, be like, yeah, we have ADT. Did they send you out here? You'd be like, yep.
Dude,
yep.
I would cross out any neighborhood that was like rough because you had to pass credit checks.
And the people who can't pass the credit checks are the ones who will say yes every single time.
So
Yeah.
you do like 10 credit checks in that day, and I'm just like literally getting
one
nowhere.
maybe passed.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, look at Helium here. This is Helium on the 1-year chart. I'm loving this chart right here. In fact, I think I just saw something, Josh, we might need to check out on the daily. Do you think this could be a hidden bullish divergence? Let's check it out here. Looking at my fart short is doing good. Oh baby. All right, so let's look at HNT here. Helium. I'm gonna do HNT USDs just to make sure we have the spot crypto pair. Let's go to the daily chart here. Let's fix this. And I would say this is fair to say
Double bottom.
It looked a lot different right there. It looked like March 10th.
I mean, it's kind of like a little double bottom action there, but
it's March 10th. Yeah, that's March 10th.
no. I mean, isn't helium?
It's not really a bullish type.
Isn't that what floats? That's what allows balloons to rise. It's.
We did have the bullish divergence right here.
You did.
And this played out. But now we have since came back down to retest that area. Also a great buying opportunity. And now, maybe cooling down. So let's go to the 4-hour here. Let's see. What are we looking at here? RSI deeply overbought. Looks like maybe people front ran the statistics that are about to come out. That would be my guess. I don't have any proof or indication of that. It's just what my gut tells me. And if we go to the 1 hour, are we seeing bullishness here?
Dude, where are these group chats, man? I want an inside trade. Politicians do it. Every company in the world. Where's our chance, Steve?
Jesse Pollock. Why didn't you tell me?
Where's this? Where the fuck is this group chat? That's my one cuss word of the stream. I want to. I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous. None of them ever get caught. They never get in trouble. Yeah. Look, you want to see my favorite one right now? Was the look at this. Elizabeth Warren just now on CNBC. I got to use my bird voice. Trump should never call. I'm not gonna do that, but she should. She said Trump should not be calling for Powell to lower rates. And then literally 7 months ago, she's calling for Chair Powell to lower rates. So it's like these hypocritical politicians are so corrupt. Nothing ever happens. Like, chat, I will give you guys the info. We should have a group chat for Discover that's like, hey, boom, let's go inside, baby. But of course, we'd probably get in trouble for that. So, all
right, I'm gonna go ahead and close the chart here. I'm closing the chart. You don't want to bet against Fartcoin; it will wreck you. It will wreck you bad. We're just taking a little 15% profit there, so nothing to write home about. But
congrats.
We'll take that there. Looking at the rest of the market, let's hit refresh, and it looks like Bitcoin finding a little bit of a bounce here. Let's go check out the BTC chart. Bitcoin is on the 1 hour, losing a little bit of momentum on the RSI here. You can see heading down, the prices reflecting the same, but we had a perfect bounce off this trend line here, and the trend line is just that fallen wedge there. So great technical targets. If you're looking at this, we would measure the flagpole to the breakout there. It's a brand new all-time high. If this technical chart looks,
oh please, dude, I can't wait
for 147.
I can't even wait for $100,000 Bitcoin again, dude. It just all the bears, they're little what do you call them? Spectrum. I'm messing out on the name here. Dude, I can't wait. It's gonna be a good time.
And DZ loves his Solana meme coin. DZ loves making Solana content. And tonight we got a Solana video coming out. We're going to cover the Canadian ETFs. We're going to cover Solana being added to a corporate balance sheet, and we're going to talk about some technicals. Solana, let's just look at it. I'll front a little bit of the video. If you don't have on notifications, you might be missing our videos when they come out here. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, Solana deserves a price prediction video here. This to me, great trend line to buy off of. We are pumping. Are we going to dip back down? Should you wait to see if we retest? Should you just jump in now, turn on those noties, and I'll be sending you just the research that I'm finding. Anything else you want? Chat is hilarious.
Let's see what we got. Jerome Powell is I'm more in love than ever. Oh, so Steve-O's
talk about Solana here.
Love with you.
Jay Powell, he's a traitor, sabotaging every day. Jerome Powell was hired by Trump.
Yeah, I don't think he's a I don't agree that he should be holding interest rates, but I mean, actually agree with the tariff decision. Like, he should hold them for at least a month. There's no way If he's holding it past June, then you have to ask yourself, like, what's the political play here? Because at that point, if inflation's still coming down, if unemployment's ticking back up, if everybody else is cutting around the globe, markets are doing well, there'll be no reason for him not to cut. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, is there more to this? But he seems pretty apolitical, so that would mean that's why I'm still targeting the June. Like June is the most apolitical time to cut rates because that's after the tariffs happen. Yeah,
And speaking of great time to cut, it was a great time to cut that fart. I cut the short.
Cut that cheese, you mean?
I didn't open a long, but DZ cut that fart just at the perfect time. This is the 1 minute chart right after. Whoa, I'd probably be in the negative by now. So, all right, man, listen to what we're trying to put out there. We're going to tell you our steps in this journey. We just want to give you financial freedom, want to help you retire early, and we want your grandchildren to be so proud of you. There's oil paintings of you in the home that you gave to them, that you bought for a 0.1 Bitcoin. DZ for Josh and Discover Crypto. Turn on those noties, and we'll see you tonight.